Hi. I'm gonna be fast because it's a hefty video already, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I did enough in the video, so I just want to let you know I'm gonna put the books down in the box so you can check them out. Not just the title but with the authors too, and mention some and put down some book channels that I usually get my recommendations from, so you can check them out too if you are interested. And I selected my top 10 reads. I don't count rereads, so yep, I hope you have fun.
Ninth house. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you the truth. I didn't like the Shadow and Bone series, and they are done by the same author, so I was a little bit afraid to pick this book up. But I was so surprised. I really loved this one. This book made me realize maybe I like dark academia stuff. I haven't read any other books that may fall under this umbrella, so I still haven't really know if I really like that. And also this book has necromancy. I think that was the main reason I was like, okay, let's give it a try, because I just really like necromancy. And I'm so happy I tried because I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to read the second book. So let's talk about the story. Alex, who is the main character, starts to attend to Yale, but she had one condition. I'm sorry if I'm referring them with wrong pronouns, feel free to correct me. It's due to translation because my mother language don't differentiate between sexes, so we have the same words for them, her and him. So Alex has to join the ninth house while she attends Yale, and the ninth house coordinates and supervises the other supernatural houses on the campus. So I was like, that sounds pretty good for me. So this book has magic, necromancy, and dare I say dark academia vibes. The last one, take it a little bit of salt because I haven't read any other book that falls into dark academia. And now let's talk about the arts. I draw a skull. In my head, skull represents necromancy. Don't ask me why. Or Hamlet. That's the two things I think of when I see a skull. The two snakes came into picture when Alex shows a few of her tattoos, and she has big snakes on her body. I think on her shoulder and arm area. Sorry, I don't really remember it. I enjoyed too much this book, so I read it too fast, so my memory is a little bit fuzzy. So that's explained the snakes on the drawing. I put some leaves around the skull because school semester starts at fall, so the story starts at fall, but I think it's not in chronological order, so sometimes it jumps between times. I had a pretty okay time with following where we are in time. I've heard it's sometimes hard to follow, so maybe look out for that if you want to pick this up. Harrow. So yeah, another skull. Skull means necromancy. So I read Harrow this year, and last year I read Gideon, and now I read Harrow. It's a trilogy, I think. Harrow is the second book, so I'm gonna talk about the plot of Gideon because I don't want to spoil anything. So, and because Harrow takes parts after Gideon, I don't want to spoil it, but I really wanted Harrow to be on the list, so here I go. So Gideon and Harrow from the ninth house of necromancy. Yeah, let me ask you a question, because I've seen some similarities between the number 9 and necromancy, and I just couldn't really wrap my head around why is it, and when I googled it I didn't find anything. So if you have any information, educate me please. So now back to the story explaining part. So Harrow and Gideon are asked to take part in a competition to be elected for a higher position, helping out the king. And we see the competition as the Gideon story. So let's talk about the art. I really do feel like I should have drawn Harrow. I don't know why I chickened out. I think I was ill that day when I drew this, so I wanted to give myself an easier time, but that's why I feel like Harrow and the ninth house illustration are too close to each other. So someday I want to draw probably Harrow and then Gideon, because if I draw Harrow then I have to draw Gideon too. This is how it works in my head. And probably the covers are so amazing that I chickened out. Probably, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's due to the covers. So I went with a skull in space. Yeah. Let me finish the thought. A skull in space with Gideon's sword in it. That's the whole art. So why is it in space? Because the book takes part in space. Isn't it beautiful? Necromancy in space. Also some LGBT stuff. So it's a real good book. Spiderwick Chronicles. I just call it Spiderwick, but it's a whole series. I think it's 5 books. But during summer, I found the Spiderwick as a special edition, and I wrote it down to read it. And then my library said, sorry, we don't have it. Then I found it when I was looking for something else, and I was like, I'm gonna borrow it. And I borrowed it, and I actually ended up buying the book. I really just loved it. The main... okay, let's talk about the authors. I haven't read anything by Tony... I'm not gonna pronounce their last name because I don't speak Italian, so I don't want to mispronounce their name. But I've read by Holly Black before. This year I read the Cruel Prince series, and it was fine. I enjoyed it, but it's not something that I can imagine myself rereading or talking about passionately. Also, I didn't like the Iron Child by her, so I was like, I'm a little bit afraid to pick this book up, but I really loved it. I think the illustrations were really beautiful, so that's also added a next layer. So I would say this book is also much more up in middle grade and kids category, but it was still good for me. So where the story starts, a family of 4, one sister and one twin brothers, and their mom moves into a Victorian house. When I see the picture of the house, I was like, oh yes, it's such a great house. And one of the kids finds an old book about fairies and other magical creatures on the attic. So I was like, oh yes, that's such a scenario for me. You know I'm gonna like it. And the illustration were the cream of the cake. Do you say that in English? I don't know. So I'm gonna talk about my illustration. I chose to draw the book that they found, and it's labeled Arthur Spiderwick's magical book. I'm sorry. I'm gonna write on the screen, I don't know. In the speed draw, you can see I did miswrite it. I thought you won't be able to see anything as Arthur name, but I just wrote spiders instead of Spiderwick. But in render I fixed it, so don't worry about that. Also, there's a little weird glass next to the book. That glass is in the series, and that helps to see the creatures. Not all of them are able to human eyes, so that's why the glass is needed. And I also drew one creature hand trying to grab the book, because in the series everyone wants that book. So also there's a dragon in the series in the last book, and they are showing up for like 5 pages, but you know how I am with dragons. I have to draw them, so I drew them, and they were really time consuming. And now let's hop onto the historical fiction section. And I read Circe. I'm sorry, we pronounce it Circe where I am from, and I think I wrote it with double K, but I've seen on the internet it's with C's, but I don't know how you pronounce it, so my bad. You might know Circe from the story of Odysseus. She was the lady who turns men into guinea pigs. And this story is told by her, which I really like, because that's a perspective that we don't really talk about. And also she was kind of witch in her time, so you know what it means. I'm gonna like it, and I really did. I always been fond of Greek myth. I grew up on Percy Jackson, so this book was destined to me. So let's talk about the drawings I did. So again, I did a character design. I gave her little sun earrings to show that she's one of the daughter of the sun god. Also put her trusty lion on the frame. I think I made a mistake with the shoulder anatomy, and maybe with the head, but I still liked how the art came out, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I was like, I'm happy I made a mistake, but I'm still enjoying it. So also, if you consider picking up this book, it's a slower book, so be prepared for that. I think I've heard people talking about the English text being beautiful as well. It was definitely beautiful in the translated book, so but still take this with a little bit of salt, because I've read the translated book, not the original text. But yeah, it's still due to the reason that not translated books are more expensive than translated books. Here we go, the last one. It's Song of Achilles. It's the same author. It's the same author as the Circe, and it's also Greek myth again. But now it's about Achilles, and the story is told by Patroclus, friend / lover of Achilles. It's not a spoiler. Everyone knows it's okay. But yeah, it was also beautifully written, and I really liked it. Just to give a really overlook of the story, Patroclus and Achilles grows up together, and they have to go to the War of Troya due to an old vow. And yeah, there's of course so much into it, and if I say they are at War of Troya, I'm talking we are at the half point, so there are so much stuff I skipped just to give you the overall theme. So let's talk about my drawing. I drew a harp because Achilles tends to play music for Patroclus. I think he also enjoyed it, so they both enjoyed the music. The helmet is for the war theme. The little shell represents Thetis, who is Achilles' mom. Thetis is a god, so that makes Achilles a half god, and Thetis just keeps popping up in the story. These were my favorite books of 2023. Before you pick up any books, please look for trigger warnings. I think all of them has something in them that can be triggering, so please be cautious of that. And let me know what you read, how you like them, if you want to pick up any from this list. If you have any good recommendation to me, hit me up. I like putting books on my enormous to read list. Have a great New Year celebration, and we'll meet in 2024. Bye.